party. Now I know you've always thought of what could you take to the party that everybody's going to love, going to enjoy. Everybody always thinks of 7-layer dip. It's always a great favorite, but today we're going to do a little twist on 7-layer dip. It's going to be kind of the layered dip inside the tortilla cut into little bites. So this is what you're going to need. You're going to need your 98% fat-free tortillas. You're going to need a can of black refried beans. What's great about these particular refried beans is that they're 99% fat-free. You're also going to need a small can of sliced olives, and you're going to need a can of green chilies. Now with that, you're also going to need 1 pound of lean. Usually I use the 93.7% ground turkey. Now I've got that over here already grilling up. We're getting that all brown. So the first thing you want to do is brown your turkey. Come on. Now in addition to those ingredients, you're also going to want 1 package of Old El Paso 40% less sodium taco seasoning. You're going to have 1 stick or bar of Philadelphia cream cheese, fat-free. On the border's my favorite salsa. Just use your favorite salsa, but you're going to need a jar of taco salsa and 2% or fat-free cheddar cheese. And that's going to keep all the fat down, and you can feel really good about serving this to your guests at your next party. Okay, so we're browning this up. You know, they say a merry heart does good like a medicine, so I've got one for you. There was this blonde that was looking for some extra work, and she decided that she'd make a really great handyman. So she put together some flyers, and she started putting out to her neighborhood that she can do all kinds of handiwork. She was a beautiful girl, and one day she decided to take it a step further in her marketing, and she was going to go door to door. So the first house she knocked on in the evening, she knocked on the door, and here comes an older gentleman, and she says, "Sir, I'm a handyman, and I want you to know that I'm available for services to work on your house or anything that you might need." She said, "Is there anything that you might need around the house that I could help you with today?" He thought for a minute, and he said, "Well, as a matter of fact, I've been wanting my porch painted." And she says, "Well, that sounds great. I can do that." He says, "Well, how much would you charge me?" She thought a second. She said, $50. He said, $50? Well, that sounds like a good deal to me. All the paint you'll need is out there in the garage. So as she went to the garage, the wife came to the door and overheard what was going on, and she walked up and she said, "Now, Herbert, don't you think that blonde might have her numbers off $50? Does she understand that it's an entire wraparound porch?" He looked at her and he said, "Oh, Bertha, don't you think that's being just a little bit cynical? Maybe a little judgmental of that sweet little girl?" She says, "Oh, well, maybe I'm just taking all those blonde jokes too seriously. I've been getting across my email." Well, about that time, 30 minutes later, here comes the girl, and she knocks on the door and she says, "I'm finished." He says, "Already?" She says, "Oh, yes, and I had extra paint left over. I gave you 2 coats." He said, "Really?" Well, he reaches in to grab the $50, hands it to her, and she says, "And oh, by the way, it's not a porch, it's a Lexus." You might get that later. All right, now this is nice and brown, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to drain it and take you to the next step. We're just going to add that taco seasoning, and that's going to mix up fine. All right, now that we've drained out all the grease out of our turkey, we're going to add 2/3 cup of water and our package of taco seasoning mix. That's going to give that meat a nice flavor. Mix that on up in there. Turn the heat to about medium, and you're just going to let that simmer, get all that flavor in that meat real good. Just a few minutes. Okay, so once that has simmered really nicely all the way through there, oh, it just smells so delicious. We are now going to go ahead and turn that down, the temperature off. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to take and we are going to warm up our Philadelphia cream cheese so that we get it nice and soft. Okay, so I am just taking that Philadelphia cream cheese out of the microwave where we have just softened it up, and now I'm going to add that to our meat. That's going to be good. And what that's going to do is we're just going to mix all that up in there. That cream cheese is going to kind of make it a thicker texture. I'm actually going to pour it into my pan here. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to blend that together. Look at that. Oh, that cream cheese. That cream cheese, once we get it into the tortillas and put it in the refrigerator, it will harden, which will pull all this together. So nice. We're now going to pull that mixture over here. We've got our beans, and what we want to do to the black beans, now you can either use the canned black beans, 99% fat-free, or you can get back black beans and you can puree them in your blender. I like to use these because they're a little bit thicker, and in this type of recipe, we want things to coagulate really well so that they actually keep those nice crisp rolls. But we're going to add about a half a cup of that salsa to those beans just to give it the good flavor. We're going to blend that up, and then we're going to use a small can of green chilies. And I don't usually use a whole can. I probably use about 2/3 of a can. And blend that up. And it doesn't look pretty, but it sure does taste good. I'll bring it over so you can take a look. That's the black bean mixture we're going to use. Now, we are going to get our tortillas. We're going to start to put these babies together. Okay, so we brought all of our recipe ingredients over here. Now we're going to start putting the tortilla rolls together. What you want to do first is you want to take your little tortilla. I suggest using the large tortillas. And see, what happened is I sent my husband to the grocery store, and he got us the small tortillas. So my suggestion is use the big tortillas because you can stuff them with a whole lot more goodies. But we're going to go ahead and do this here, and we're going to take a little bit of the meat mixture first. Put that in the middle. Now this is where I get a little bit anal. I'm going to just spread it out. I like everything to be nice and even. That way every bite is the same. I always said I could never work in a fast food restaurant because I'd be making sure on those burgers that every bite had the right amount of mustard, every bite had the right amount of ketchup. Okay, then we're going to take just a little bit of our bean mixture, and we're going to just line that out so that every one of these bites gets a little taste of everything. Look at that. And then finally, we're going to top it with just a little bit of cheddar. You don't need a whole lot. And then we're going to roll her up. Smells good. Now, this is where you want to make sure it's good and packed in there when you roll it. Keep it round, pack it in there with your fingers, and then take your very sharp knife and you're going to cut away. The ends are usually not the prettiest part, so I'll just go ahead and take that bite and feed it to my cameraman and see what he thinks. Here you go, cameraman. Oh, he gave me the thumbs up. That's good. So you just want to take those and slide it back and forth. If you push down, you're going to squeeze all the goodies out. So just slide it back and forth like that. You're going to do that all the way along. And don't worry about if it's just a little bit runny. That'll harden up. Do the next one. You can do that for all of your tortillas, and we're going to show you how you can plate them so it really looks good and festive. And no matter what your party is, whether it's a holiday season, a birthday party, these are delicious, delicious Mexican rolls. Okay, so what I've done is I've just placed all those little rolls right on my plate. We've garnished it with some red bell peppers and just a few black olives. That just makes the plate look so pretty. In fact, we had some neighbors come over while I was garnishing the plate, and they grabbed a couple of my little rolls, and they said it was so good. So make sure you check it out. This is the Mexican tortilla wraps, and you can just check them out at EMwomen.com. Another recipe from EMcafe, and if you've got a recipe for us, send it to us at info@EMwomen.com.